there's a lot of stuff happening around the NFL. Obviously, we got some hirings potentially happening up in New England. We have Jordan Love taking on this San Francisco 49ers defense that is going to be talked about as being historic whenever it's all said and done. Do you know when Kyle Shanahan started preparing for the Packers team?
What was that?
During the game against the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, what? My God.
So the San Francisco 49ers not only have a more rested team, but also a more prepared team because Kyle Shanahan actually gave away when he started thinking about the Packers being their next opponent.
How quickly did you guys get to work on the Packers?
We were already in here, so we were doing it that day. We had mixed in a little bit earlier in the week, hitting up a couple of teams, but started really focusing on them halfway through the second quarter.
Really
then they scored at the end of the second quarter, so I kind of did both at halftime, and then third quarter I was set on one team.
Okay, so does that worry you, Ty? This guy's been thinking longer about you than you've been thinking about them, Ty Schmidt?
No, not really, because that's the smart thing to do. I mean, the Packers absolutely beat the shit out of the Cowboys, so he should have been doing that. He should have been thinking, hey, there's a chance that we're still going to play somebody else, so let's just kind of avoid that. We knew about midway through it was going to be Packers and Niners. So I'm glad, Shanny got a little leg up on prep work and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, the game's not played on paper.
No, it isn't.
It's played on the football field. So, extra couple days of prep, fine by me. Doesn't matter.
Does this Packers team have a chance?
I think they do. I really do. I mean, Lombo, touched on it, and that is like the big concern, obviously, is that the Cowboys, got so far behind that they kind of just had to abandon the run completely, and they had to throw to get back into it. That's the Achilles heel for the Packers, is they have a very tough time stopping the run. So the worry is, yes, that they're going to get a heavy dose of McCaffrey, and he's going to rush for 170 yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever. But I think it's the same exact formula as it was last week. They need to win the coin toss, get the ball, and go score right away. Like, they can't play from behind. And I think it's the same thing as last week. They have to win the turnover battle, and they probably have to. I'm not saying they have to have like a pick 6 or score a defensive touchdown, but Purdy probably needs to play his worst game of the year in order for them to win.
Speaking of Purdy spoke about the playoffs this year versus last year. Remember, last year dropped in the middle of the season, Mr. Irrelevant, never even
buzzsaw.
Showcases a sign of weakness as soon as he drops in there. Here's him chit-chatting about it.
I feel like it's a little different, just last year, still trying to find my way in a sense. I got thrown in towards the end of the year, and so every single week I was, still trying to play good and learn, who I was as a quarterback and obviously get more familiar with playing within the system. So those are all things that were sort of on my plate last year, and then obviously trying to win every single week and get this team to the end. And so now, I guess this year, just being more familiar with the offense, who I am, and all that, it's a little different. But it's good to sort of, watch the games from last year and sort of remember, just the feeling and the emotions of, playing in a playoff game. It's good. It's huge for me as a quarterback to, go back to those moments and sort of remember what it feels like. So those are things that I'm sort of banking on.
What did it feel like?
Yeah, I feel like, the first game was a little bit tense, just in terms of, every play mattered, not trying to turn the ball over, but at the same time, making plays still and winning and doing what it takes to win. So those were things I sort of had to learn, and watching the film. It's sort of, you get back into that feeling of last year and the first time in a playoff game. And so it's sort of good to remember those kinds of things moving forward, sort of understanding what to expect, for the first playoff game this year for me.
See, C.J. Stroud's dealing with all the things that he was dealing with last year. Now, C.J. Stroud, number 2 overall pick, vastly different than the last overall pick of the draft. But whenever you're a rookie dropped in there, everything's probably coming so strong.
Yeah, from both sides,
Probably coming
You're coming
so fast.
Coming on the left, coming on the right, coming in your face.
Coming from behind.
Yeah. Boom.
I mean, it's just coming everywhere.
Yeah. Tough.
It is a juggernaut of coming from all aspects of life.
Storm.
Hey, you got to do press conferences now.
What?
Hey, you got to learn the entire offense now.
What?
Hey, you got to lead this team now.
What?
Hey, you got to break down this defense that is also paid $100 million, and you have to react in the moment, in real time, without thinking. And even if you don't know if something's real, you have to have trust and faith that it is, even though you've never done it before. He has a lot going. Now, he's a veteran.
Oh, yeah.
Now this guy's been through it. He's also experienced, I guess, what Jordan Love is experiencing right now. Because although he is in his 4th year of being an NFL quarterback, this is his first time going in. And we never really chat about it. Jordan Love not knowing what he doesn't know.
Right.
We never really chat about, hey, he's still developing, still growing. Normally the conversation is just Jordan Love is so good. We talk about C.J. Stroud obviously being phenomenal, and they were comparing their first ever playoff game starts, but it hasn't been like Jordan Love's a rookie at all, seemingly, and the expectations haven't been set on him like that. With Brock Purdy, the expectations are our first-round expectations.
Yeah.
Like Brock Purdy's got to play top 5 in the league. Jordan Love, I think he's quickly making his way there as well. So these two almost seeing each other in the mirror at this point.
And on the flip side of that, too, it's like if the Packers were to win, then people are going to kill Brock Purdy and say the same thing that they've been saying all year about, hey, this guy's a 7th-round pick. Like, he isn't – the only reason he's worth the shit is because of the weapons around him. Whereas if the Niners go out there and win convincingly, like, the story about Love will be like, he's the guy. He had a great first – like, Purdy doesn't have the same – like, he needs to win this game because if he doesn't, the media and the scrutiny that he's going to get is going to be much worse than what Stroud or Love or any of these other guys will get.
Not us, though.
No,
not us.
No.
Because the dude's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's young, too.
Oh,
Still
yeah.
has a roommate. He was talking about where didn't know what last year was going to be like, how every play matters. He was also worried about it. Am I still on this team next week?
Exactly.
Am I able to make rent in San Francisco, which is absurdly high? He's got a roommate still, probably learning a lot about him. What are we doing in the kitchen? What's in the fridge? Do we leave half sips left in the fridge?
Yep.
Whose is that?
Who's
Your name on that,
Who
or-
claims that? I mean, he has a lot going on in his child. And now here he is a year later, and it's just like, yeah, Brock Purdy's a stud, and he's being treated as like a 40-year-old.
Yeah, and I almost feel bad for him because he'll never have the house money thought that the other guys do. Like, he's not playing with house money, and he's never been able to play with house money. And it does stink. It's, Brock, sorry about it, but you have to win. Like, if you don't win, whether you're the last pick or the backup or now the starter, like, you have to win. Or like Ty said, he will get crucified. And I think from the outside looking in, like for all of us, it will just be like, what happened to this Niners team? Because it was kind of another year where, hey, this is the year they're going to go. But if they don't do it this year, then it's even worse and louder for them.
Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, some pretty jocked white will be holding a boombox like this. In Debo and Trent Williams will be walking down to the field. That team knows what will be said about Brock.
Yes.
That team knows what will be said about them, to your point. And that team, I think, has been thinking about what has been said about them last year, this entire season. I know Lombo likes the Niners, minus 9.5. I think there's going to be a lot of people that just think to themselves, what that locker room and how that locker room treated last year has motivated them into this year. Are they going to let it go at the divisional round?
Exactly.
Is that going to be as far as they're going to go? I'm not 100% sure.
I had a question, and the fans don't think so. 64% is on Green Bay.